Welcome to another episode of Thoughts of a Trillionaire, and this time I'm going to actually talk about why I want to be a trillionaire and what I will do as a trillionaire, what I will do to even get to that point. All right. So what's cool about $1 trillion is that when you have $1 trillion, you will almost certainly have the skills to have $18 trillion, to have $20 trillion, enough $1 trillion, in fact, to pay off America's debt. Now, do I want to do it? I'm not quite sure yet. Initially, when I told myself I wanted to be a trillionaire, it was because I wanted to pay off America's debts and see if we can start anew. I freaking love America because I don't know why. Initially, I thought it was a land of the free. You know, it was this amazing melting pot of diversity, of innovation, of ideas, of just an amazing place created by people who wanted to do something different, and created for and by and with people who want to always do something different, who wanted to do more and be better and truly embrace freedom. But as you look about the foundation of America, I'm not going to talk about that because I can get way too far. But basically, to stay on the high level, initially I wanted to pay off America's debts. But then I realized with $1 trillion, I can make my own dang country. I mean, I could probably do that with a couple $1 billion. But $1 trillion will make that possibility freaking, it'll be easy to make, my own country. And so then I could focus not on how to pay all these people, but how to encourage each one of these people to make their own wealth. Furthermore, I can make my own country that doesn't need money in the first place, because my money will be able to fund it until it can fund itself. So, me being a trillionaire was more of a play of, okay, how can I start an entirely new society from scratch, such that the people on it will be able to experiment with a bunch of different processes or economics that I believe is more efficient than a monetary system. Yes, money is nothing but energy, is nothing but the means of giving or rather buying and selling value as a mean of transferring value. But that's not, I don't believe that to be the best way that we have now. It's worked pretty well up to now. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing like, the problem's not really money itself, but the people that depends on the money, what ideas and what expectations we put upon the money. But at the same time, it enables the wrong sort of behavior, the wrong sort of patterns in humanity that I don't believe will create a great society going forwards. It seems like it's going to be increasingly more and more a race to the bottom if we depend on this monetary system. And so I figured if I was a trillionaire, then I would be able to amass so much money that I could just throw it all away. In a hyperbolic sense, that I will be able to create my own country that doesn't even run on money and show how successful that is. And so when people see that, whoa, the first and biggest trillionaire ever in humanity just threw away all of his money to create a society that doesn't use money. If I can do that, that would be freaking huge. Because I firmly believe in the ideas of the Venus Project, or similar types of concepts. Not in the idea of a utopian society, because that is impossible. Just like perfection is impossible. We will never, ever be perfect. Because the idea of perfect is just a mathematical concept similar to infinity, similar to a perfect circle. You will never find that anywhere in nature. It doesn't exist. But the idea is there. And that idea is what always helps us to chase perfection, always helps us to chase a utopian society. So I like the idea of the Venus Project because it's run on the idea not of scarcity but of abundance, not of negativity but of positivity, not of limits but of unlimited potential, of unlimited growth, of always being able to help people, making sure that no one goes unfed, that no one goes without. And that is an amazing thing to shoot for. That is an amazing thing to shoot for. Because that encourages each person to do their best to focus on creating rather than surviving. People say, "Oh, if people don't have to work, if people don't have to work for what they make for their food, then they're all going to be lazy." But that is a fallacy. People don't work like that. Humans don't work like that. We work because we have to. But we innovate because we want to. We create because we love to. And when the biggest problem with today is that people are focused on surviving. My family, people who live like me, who make like $20,000 or less, even though they have a family of 8, who live their entire lives struggling and struggling and struggling. People like me in this stuck in this demographic stuff, stuck in this area, stuck in this socioeconomic status, we have to struggle to survive. And so we can rarely ever think about what it's like to create something. Because you have to think about how to get food on the table, how to get the water working, how to get the electricity on. And that's still in America, much less in the rest of the world, with the 3 billion other people who are struggling to simply survive, who to simply find a home. If even the one of the wealthiest countries in the world is struggling with what I think like 23% child poverty, child homelessness, then the rest of the world is even worse off. But I want to create a society where people don't ever have to worry about surviving. Because we're freaking beyond that already. We know that. We're not all a bunch of... We don't even call ourselves animals anymore, even though we are animals. We don't call ourselves animals for a very good reason. We're not here and in this moment of time, in this part of society, to struggle to survive. We're here to create value. And that's why I want to be a trillionaire, because I believe I have the tools, the thoughts, and the passion to help more and more people create value. And I'm going to do that by creating companies, open source based companies that use the whole idea of not end users, but consumers that are also curators, that are also producers. I guess the term is prosumers, but that sounds stupid. But essentially, I want to create a gold rush and then create the tools for people to find more and more gold. And because this is a created gold rush, I can freaking just create more gold. But because this is not a material thing. The gold is not actual. It's not actually based on being a rare product. The gold is based on finding it within each person, where each individual feels inspired and motivated to do more inside themselves. I'm creating a gold mine, a gold rush, where everybody is rushing to find the gold within themselves. And so there is never going to be a point where we cannot find more gold, where we cannot strive for more, we cannot look and innovate and do whatever we need in order to be better. My company will likely be an umbrella company where it holds it holds and supports a ton of other people creating companies within themselves. Sort of like how Silicon Valley got started by a bunch of basically like alumni or frat brothers or whatever who created some amazing companies or amazing company or two, and that each of those split off into dozens of other companies. And even though they're not they're not necessarily in the same umbrella, they're most definitely still supporting one another. They build a network around one another. And I want to do the same, first for my own community, for the Black community, for the Haitian American community, for people who have struggled the same as I have. And then I want to replicate that and scale that up to the world. And so my open source community will allow people to not only have a product where we not only use my product, but they will be able to use that product to create their own products. And they'll be able to use the model of my company, the revenue model, the business model of my company, in order to inspire their own business model. So they don't have to start from scratch every time. We're going to be building giants at my company. And each one builds a bigger giant. It's a constant pyramid. It's constant, not even a pyramid. It's We're creating a whole world, an ecosystem, where everything builds atop of each other, where everything helps balances out the other. An ecosystem where if I have a product in my company, the whole process of creating that product, the whole process of finding talent to create that product, the whole process of selling that product will then be able to be shared with the very people who use that product. So then they'll be able to turn around and say, okay, I've just built this with your product. Now I'm going to use the same thing you did to build my own. And then they will be able to do the same thing to people who use their product. On and on. I'm going to create a viral wealth building system. A viral wealth building system. And it's going to start as software, of course, because it's the easiest place to get into. But it's going to expound. It's going to expand into a somewhat similar to Amazon. How I will build the infrastructure to supply a bunch of services for everybody to use. And then each of those services will also be able to turn into institutions where people can then learn how to create whatever they want to create. They can teach the next generation of how to do the same. Because the biggest problem with the current ideas of leadership, like Apple, they had Steve Jobs, and he was very great at innovating, at showing people how to do freaking amazing things. But when he died, rest in peace, he was not able to pass on that same, I don't know what you want to call it, that same gumption, that same amazing thing that he had. He was not able to pass that on. Now, whether or not the current leadership of Apple is actually very talented at being a leader, it's most certainly that they're not, regardless of their talent, they're not as amazing as Steve Jobs, you know. They're not able to scale what he did. And so the new generations of Apple, of phones and devices that they have is pretty much the same as before. It's like they're trying to be innovative for innovation's sake, which is good, but not great in the aspect of, it's good but not great, essentially. It's not, being innovative is cool and all, but if you're not on time, if you're not really communicating what you're doing to your consumers and making your consumers producers, instead you're limiting them, handicapping them. If you're saying, no, we're going to handhold you because we think you're stupid, then they're going to keep on acting stupid. So they won't increase the value of your product. Eventually, the value of your product will decrease. Now, I hope Apple will actually be able to do something with VR or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the point is that even though I think I will be able to encourage some amazing progress, I want to make sure that it's scalable, that is reproducible. So I want to document everything I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, and show other people how to do the same. And in doing that, we will create a system of mutual wealth. And because there is a mutual wealth, we will constantly be able to feed each other. Rather than trying to compete in a way that is destructive, we will compete in a way that is collaborative. That's always trying to one-up each other. Rather than trying to cut each other at the feet, at the ankles, stab each other in the back or whatever, we're always trying to help one another. Now, kind of, man, these minutes are short when you're just talking. But yeah, I went a lot into, I guess, how I would become a trillionaire. But I'm also it's even more. It's so much more, guys. Stay tuned. There's a lot more to talk about what I will even do as a trillionaire. I talked about a little bit about how I will become a trillionaire. Now in the next episode, I'm going to talk about what to do as a trillionaire. Because it goes beyond just creating some new society. It goes way beyond that. Whew, that was fun. But yes, being a trillionaire is my journey there is always going to be about collaboration and mutual wealth, mutual help, giving value and showing value and helping each other to grow. And that's what I want to do with these podcasts, with everything I'm doing. And yeah, thank you for listening to this episode of Thoughts of a Trillionaire. Bye-bye.